G'day guys, good to see you all. Hope you're doing really well. This old shed here, it's about 10 minutes from my house. I've always wanted to do a shoot here and I wasn't sure sunrise, sunset, what would make a good shot. It's in the middle of these cane fields behind me here, surrounded by them really. And then I thought astrophotography. Wouldn't it make a good astro shot with the stars arching over it, behind it? So I did some research, some prior planning before coming here, and I found that the Milky Way will be actually arching over it tonight. So why not a better time to come down here and take a shot of it later on, about 9:30 tonight. I thought I'd take you along my journey and my process. If you've never done Milky Way photography, what's involved, and how I go about it. So the first thing I'll do before doing a Milky Way shot is I'll go on Google Maps and look for an area, or if I see an area I like, I'll then see when and where the Milky Way will be at that time of year. So the Southern Hemisphere, your best time to shoot Milky Way is sort of end of August through to September. It's the optimum time to see the Milky Way in the Southern Hemisphere. Throughout the summer, it's sort of more lower on the horizon. You don't get that huge arch you do through the winter time, sort of autumn, winter and springtime. It's definitely the best time. The next is to look at the moon phase. So where the moon will be or what the moon's doing. You don't want to come out on a full moon. So the new moon is the best time to come out, because what the moon does is it's like having a big light on when you come out here. Just ruins your shot. So new moon, we're in a new moon phase. Either side of the new moon works as well. You can come out on a full moon, but just check when the full moon sets. So for example, if the full moon sets at 2 a.m. in the morning, you might have that period of 2 a.m. till sunrise to do a Milky Way shot. If you're that keen, you might have to get up at like 3 a.m. to come out and do the shot, which I'm not too keen. The Milky Way is going to be high and bright tonight quite early, about 7 till 10ish. It'll be around this area and then it'll fade off over the horizon. So that's 2 tips you've got to look for. Also come out, if you've never been to a location, it's a good idea to come out in the day and sort of scout it out, where you're going to sit, where you're going to set your camera up, just variables like that. You don't want to be mucking around in the dark, tripping over stuff. I've been here lots of times before. Like I say, it's not far from my home. And I use a app called Pills app. If you haven't got it, get it. It's not free, unfortunately. I think it's about 11 Australian dollars. And that you can pinpoint anywhere in the world where you are, drop your pin on it, and then go to nighttime, date, the night, whatever time of year, and it'll show you exactly where the Milky Way will be. That's a good tip. Get that little app. So you've done all that. You've got your location. You know the moon phase. You know where the Milky Way will be. Next is camera. Any DSLR, mirrorless, 4/3 camera will be fine. Full frame's usually better for Milky Way shots, but like I said, any camera will do in those. Lens, there's a little bit of debate on lens. Wide angle, it's good. A large aperture, everyone says you need, 1.8, 2. Up to, it's 2.8, sort of in that variable, says the best. However, f4 is fine. You just might have to use your higher ISO, but there's nothing wrong with a f4 lens at all. I use f4 wide angle lens. I do have a 2.8 Tamron lens, but I hardly use it for astro. I always use my f4. People say f4, but f4 is perfectly fine. You don't want to go any higher than f4. So that's what you want on your lens. And shutter speed is, so I'll set my ISO for around 2000 and play either side of that, and then work from that. My shutter speed is a good 500 rule. Only on a full frame camera can use the 500 rule. So you take 500 and you divide it by your focal length, and that'll tell you the seconds, your shutter speed. So for example, if you use the 50mm lens, 500 divided by 50 is 10. So 10 seconds would be your focal time that you have, sorry, your shutter speed, 10 seconds. And what that's telling you is the longer your shutter speed, if you're not sure this, with the Earth moving, you can get star trails in your shot and it doesn't look very good unless that's what you're going for. But as I'm going for a Milky Way shot, I don't want the Earth moving quicker than my shot I've set for my Milky Way. So that's a good little tip. Always look into that. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Once you've got all that sort of information in your head, work it out. You just come out to your location at night, headlamp, use a torch if you want for light painting. I could even bring a torch and maybe sit it in there. Excuse me, make it look like a glow inside. I'm not sure if I'll do that. I will bring a torch and just play around. I'm also, after this, probably going to go, I did a house on the hill. I'll chuck a link up to that video to the sunrise sunset, the old barn on the hill. I'm going to go there after this and use my Pills app to see where the Milky Way will be with that old barn, see if that works. So yeah. And if you live by the 6 P's in photography, you can't go wrong. And those 6 P's are prior preparation prevents piss poor performance. So if you live by that, you'll be right with astrophotography. So yeah, let's probably head back home and come back out at night time and probably set up right here, Milky Way, barn. Might move around a little bit, play with it, and then I might move to that old shed, that old house on the hill. But yeah. Oh, and also another thing is make sure you got clear skies. So you got to be a weather person as well. Check the sky, it's got to be crystal clear. You can't have clouds, that'll ruin it. And I've got all those variables have lined up. Should be a good shot. So see you back here tonight. Let's go. Ah, all right. Can you see me? It's 9 p.m. at night and I've arrived at my destination. There's the problem with doing Milky Way and vlogging. You can't see me. So yeah, I'm gonna set up where I said I was gonna shoot, just by the sugarcane field here, and it's looking all right. It's not exactly where I wanted the Milky Way to be right now. I think that another hour or so it could be perfect. So I'll take a couple of shots and I'll go to my other spot and I might come back, but I'll rattle off some shots here and see how it looks. I'm not too hopeful, but yeah, I'm out here in the in the sugarcane fields by myself. Sort of unnerving when you hear a lot of rustling going on in the bushes, but it's probably a fox or something. Yeah, so I'll set my camera up. Like I said, I know where I'm going to shoot because I came here in the day and sorted out where I was going to shoot. I think I'll start around ISO 2,500, something like that, maybe even bump it up to 3,000, and shutter speed about 30 seconds, and f4, because I'm using an f4 lens, but I think I'll have to have the shutter speed a bit longer than that, probably around 37 seconds if I did the 500 rule. But yeah, I'll set up, take a shot. Obviously I can't vlog in the pitch black, so I'll set it up, take the shot, and yeah, I'll chuck it up and tell me what you think. Alright.
Alright guys, I'm going to quickly show you, or quick as I can, quick edit on my Milky Way, or how I'd edit the shot. It's not the greatest Milky Way photo I've done, but nevertheless, for tutorial purposes, and I shot this one recently, I'll quickly go through how I do it. Alright, so this is raw, shot straight out of camera, ISO 4014mm f4. And 30 seconds. I probably should have shot it a bit longer and maybe drop the ISO a little bit, but it is what it is. Okay, so you want to come over to your panel sliders over here and always start from the first, work your way down. So you're always, it's a good little tip, and just then you know where you're at. Alright, so the sky, I'm looking at the sky, it's not blue enough, it's not nighty enough, nighty. It's not, yeah, it's not wintry kind of the conditions it was. So I'm going to bring it around 4-ish, about there. It's good, looks good. Next, magentas. I like a little bit of magenta in my Milky Way. Just bring that up to 18. It also kind of makes the sky look a little bit better. Exposure I'm going to bring up actually a little bit, maybe around, we'll go with 26. Contrast, I'm going to put a little contrast in it, not too much. So what I'm doing first, sorry I should have said, is I'm doing global edits, so that's to the whole picture, it affects the whole picture, and then I'll do local edits to the foreground and the actual Milky Way. So always work that way as well. So a little bit of contrast, 9, it's good. Alright, you can see each corner here there is light pollution, there's a town back here, and then town starting over here. So what I want to do is I want to sort of drop that light in the background because your eye's drawn to that. So we can go to highlights as the next one. We probably drop it all the way down, bit of glow. Yeah, about there. So you can see already it's a little bit better, the picture. Shadows I'm going to bring up just slightly. Whites I won't touch. Blacks I'm going to actually drop, and what that does is it makes a bit of contrast in the shadows and in the core of the Milky Way here. Right, the next sliders I'm going to leave for sort of my local edits, and then vibrance, just a little bit of vibrance in there, maybe 7, a little bit of saturation, we'll go 5. We can always come back and play with the sliders, see how they go. So your tonal curve, I always say you should have an S shape in your tonal curve. Here is all your shadows, contrast, and highlights. So I'm going to drop it about here, see what happens. About there, and then I'm going to go to the highlights at about there, drag it up. That's looking better. And that's sharp, that's pretty much it for global. Sharpening I'll leave at 40, and the next biggest one is noise reduction. So obviously, if you don't know, when you shoot at high ISO, you're going to get noise in your picture, and noise is all this grain you can see when you bring it in. Also, I don't think I cleaned my sensor, and what that does, excuse me, see these white dots here? They're called hot pixels. And all you have to do to get rid of them is clean your do a sensor run clean on your camera, and it'll remap your sensor and should get rid of those little white pixel dots. I'm not gonna print this out, so it's not a biggie. Alright, let's we'll push done. Oh, that'll get rid of those white dots. Okay, we'll go back to, sorry, we got distracted then. We'll go back to the noise. Alright, noise is big. So your noise reduction here will actually get rid of all your noise and soften sort of your picture out. So I'll show you an extreme that's shot out of camera, noisy. The Z6 is pretty good for low light, 4000 ISO, not too bad. A little bit of noise in the front here. It was windy too, so that could be a bit of wind. But anyway, if you bring this slide all the way to 100, turns your picture to butter. And I don't particularly like it. I like texture and structure in the photo. So I'll just drop this back to around about Oh, let's go 18. Already that's looking much better than straight out of RAW. So next I'm going to work on the foreground, trying to get through this quickly. I'd take more time on this, but I'm just showing you. So I'm going to grab this over here, this radial filter. I'm going to click on it and make sure all of them are at 0. So this will work on all these panels here. And I want the eye drawn to the sort of foreground, and then we'll work on the Milky Way. So if I drag a circle out like so, maybe about there, I want the eye drawn to that. So if I come down to maybe a slider to invert, you click that. So you click on that, click that. Clicking that will, everything I do will work on within this sphere here. And if I unclick it, all these sliders, if I move them, will affect everything outside the sphere and not affect inside. So if I click it, and then I want a little bit of exposure in there, so we come up here maybe. I don't want it to look too unrealistic. Just over half a stop there. Maybe a little bit more in the foreground here. Just make it look like a UFO landing there or something. A little bit of highlight in there. Clarity just to make it pop a bit more. It's pretty much, might bring the whites up a little bit, and the shadows too. There, something like that. Drag the foreground out a bit more, so you're drawn in. Yeah, something like that. Let's have a look. Yeah, I like that. So yeah, that could be something. You can play around with it. There's a lot of shadows around the rest of the picture, but I really wanted the emphasis to be on the shed. Moving up to the Milky Way, I'm going another radial filter. Double click effect, and it'll bring all these to 0. Alright, this is personal again. So if I do that and move it around like so, I'll just be working on the Milky Way, which is what I want to do. So I might pop the exposure again just a little bit, 17, more contrast in there. Drop the black, see what that does. You can always play with your sliders, like, see that's extreme one end, and then the other. You never want to go too extreme on the sliders. Probably drop in the black, just punches that core a bit. Right, these next ones you don't want to go too crazy on either. Want a little bit of texture in there, a little bit of clarity, not too much. A little bit of dehaze too will darken that contrast and make it a bit more punchy. Maybe drag it out slightly more. A little bit of sharpness too overall on it, maybe 13. So you can see, you can just be here for hours just playing with these sliders till you think. Let's see what happens if magenta comes in. Like I said, I don't want it too fake looking. Maybe a little bit more exposure just to draw you in there. That's pretty much it. Maybe some whites. Yeah. That's looking not too bad. I mean, I could work on this Milky Way, like I said, already 8 or so minutes into just this edit tutorial. I don't want to. Next, I'll get my adjustment brush, and I'll probably do my own sort of make that a bit smaller vignette just to darken the areas and then make the middle bit draw the eye in. So I'll drop the exposure, probably try 17, drop the highlights 37, see what that does. If I just paint around here, paint around the back, yes, it's looking a bit better already. So yeah, that was a quick tutorial, guys. It's like I said, I could stay here for another 30 minutes and play with this, maybe bring some shadows out of the tree there. 100 way to 100 way to skin a cat, to be honest with you. Maybe bring the shadows up here. Lightly painted in here. Maybe a bit more foreground. Yeah, so it's total personal preference when it comes to anything. I just wanted to show you, if you've never done it before, quick edit and then done, and I'll show you quick before and after. So as you can see, we've changed the sky, made it a bit more nighty looking sky blue, maybe a bit too blue. Now that I look at that, it's always good to do this too. You can, yeah, maybe that's a bit better. You can then see what you've done. So we've done the sky, we've made the Milky Way colors pop a little bit more, not too crazy, not too out there. And then drawn the eye into the shed here and got rid of some of the hot pixels in the bottom here. That's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. Smash like, hit subscribe, and see you on my next adventure. Peace out. Cheers.